Let me see. I don't think I can change the whatever. Okay. I always struggle with YouTube. Sorry. So all yours now. And today the Christmas topic will be 7 key pros and cons of living in the Czech Republic. So, of course, for those of you who are watching and you are not in the Czech Republic yet, you're thinking about moving here, I'll cover a lot of topics that might help you to decide if to move or not and to understand what are the pros and cons. And for those of you who are already living here, feel free to comment if you agree with me or if you have a different view on Prague and its life. So today I will cover 7 different topics. First will be quality of life. Second, costs of living in the Czech Republic. Third will be healthcare options, let's say. Fourth, very important, will be housing. Fifth, language barriers and how you can or you cannot survive with English in the Czech Republic. Then work and business related topics, and then general integration, social life, and generally living here as an expat. Hello Jan, Merry Christmas to you as well. Everyone watching, there are 3 people watching, so I guess your Christmas is not going really well if you're online watching me, or you are really dedicated to move into the Czech Republic, which I appreciate. Either way. So, topic number 1, quality of life, European lifestyle. Yeah, obviously this is kind of, this might be advantage and disadvantage, like the European lifestyle. But if you're thinking of moving to the Czech Republic, you probably know that it's a European country. So you should expect a European lifestyle. And in the Czech Republic, it's kind of... everything mixes together because we are right between East and West. And I would say we have the best from both, so we are not that expensive as Western Europe, let's say. But at the same time, we are more developed in different ways, like way of thinking and some like standard things like roads and all these kind of things than the East. And we are somewhere in between with the ideology as well. So we are not like Western, like, everything's business type of thing. And we are also not like everything should be like everyone's. So we are somewhere in between. And I think one of the most interesting things from my perspective is that Czechs still keep their own like mind, let's say, and then they think about things. So I think that's one of the most important things that we have. I don't know how to call it, guys. My English sucks on this Christmas day. So I would say common sense, that we kind of think about things and we like to do that, especially over a glass of beer. So that's one thing. Obviously, like if you move to Prague, that the history is all around you, unless you live in Haje or or somewhere there, or Černý Most, then obviously not. But if you stay within some reasonable central locations, then the history is everywhere. But the modern lifestyle is everywhere as well. So again, it's kind of a nice blend of traditional and new. I think that's the perfect mixture there. Question here, if it's easier to survive without Czech in Prague or Brno. I would say it's around the same. Also depends where you live, where you work, what you do. Because also in Prague, there are places where you should speak Czech if you go there. But those are like more suburban places. In Prague, yeah, like different places in Prague. But if you stay within the central location, like Prague 1, 2, 3, 10, 7, 8, 6, these kind of like close to the center and where foreigners actually go visit and live, then you should be completely fine in Prague. If you go a bit further, it might still be a bit more challenging. But from this perspective, I would say Brno and Prague would be around the same. Prague obviously may be a bit better because it's bigger and more touristy, but I think Brno will be completely fine as well. There are plenty of foreigners there too, and it's the second biggest city in the Czech Republic. So both is fine. Prague leads a bit, but I think it makes sense because it's a capital and the biggest city. So, yep. Okay, so advantages of living in Prague from the perspective of quality of life. Public transportation, obviously, that's number one. You hear it all the time. It's like the Czech public transportation is the second best in the world, or seventh best in the world, or first in the world. We are always on like in the top positions. So that's one of the greatest things about Prague, that you can easily get everywhere by public transport, day or night. Trams, buses, metros, funiculars. We have ferry boats as well. So you don't really need a car, and in most cases you should not even get a car unless it's for your business that you need to like drive. I don't think it really makes sense to have a car. You can also, there are so many apps now from normal taxis. I don't know who uses normal taxis, honestly, but anyway, they still exist. Then you have like 7 different apps, like from Uber to Bolt to other like taxi, more like taxi related. So you can easily call a cab if you need to. And there are also like all these car sharing options and rentals. So if you need a car, you can easily rent it. Anything from like super cheap to like very nice cars. So I don't think you really need a car. Cultural heritage, obviously, we have so many museums, theaters, sites, touristy sites, but also like nice places just to go to walk. And one thing I like about Prague as well is that every part of the city you go, you get to kind of like a completely different neighborhood. The different feel, different vibe, different history, because Prague wasn't built as one city. That was just like the Prague city center, but then Vinohrady were added like relatively recently, like 100 years ago, maybe not even, and other parts of Prague were also like usually or used to be separate villages or separate towns, and then as Prague was growing, they were added. So that's why they also have different vibes, and it can be very different vibes if you just like cross the street at some point. Yeah, community, especially in Prague, there is a big community of expats. So living here as an English-speaking expat, as a Russian-speaking expat, will be completely no problems at all. If you don't speak Czech, English, or Russian, it might be a bit challenging, but other than that, you should be completely fine. And affordable living, that might be controversial, but it depends on how you look at it. Because obviously I will get back to it in a second, and I need to be faster because it's been already kind of a long live stream, and I've just done topic number 1 and it's been 8 minutes, so I need to be really faster. But housing, obviously that's pretty expensive, but still, primarily if you compare it to Czech salaries. So if you earn money distantly, if you're a digital nomad from the US or Canada or Australia, or you just earn money there, but you live in the Czech Republic, housing will be way more affordable than in other EU capitals. If you have a Czech salary and you're a foreigner, then housing might be pretty expensive. But it also depends, because it depends on what you do. If you're a software developer, then you're completely fine. If you're an English teacher, yeah, you'll struggle. So that's one thing. Still, like, other things are relatively cheap or doable. So like, I mean, electricity or groceries. Obviously, if you don't know where to shop, you can overpay. But even within Prague and within the center of Prague, there are places where you can shop for more than reasonable prices if you just like go out of the standard like expat locations for shopping. So I think in general Prague is still on the good side of the cost of living here, but yeah, the housing is a bit bit difficult right now. So that takes us to the second, but I think I've covered that as well. Cost of living, affordable or expensive. Yeah, most of the things you need to pay for will be fine and kind of cheaper compared to other Western European countries. Housing, yeah, but again, if you compare it to other capitals or if you compare it to similarly big cities in other countries, it might be different. But if you compare it to capitals, Prague is still way cheaper than most European capitals. Healthcare options. Let's see. Ezra is here, but Ezra, I will be also doing another live stream just for you in the joiners section, unless someone else joins the channel and will be doing the live stream with me today as well. But I will answer these questions in that live stream. Healthcare options for foreigners. Yeah, that's one of the greatest advantages as well. Generally, as a foreigner, there are two types of health insurance in the Czech Republic. One is private, one is public. If you can get into public, do so, because then basically everything, whatever you need to get done will be for free or very cheap. You might just pay some small contribution. But basically, whatever you need to get done, you don't need to worry about that. You can get into the public healthcare system if you're employed in the Czech Republic, regardless of your nationality. Or if you're self-employed, that primarily applies to EU citizens and permanent residence permit holders and potentially some other nationalities like Americans or Japanese and Turkish, and like 4 more who can get into the public system as self-employed. But for most of other nationalities, you will need to buy the private insurance, and that's generally crap. Some of the insurance companies, the private insurance companies, they try to make it look like you will basically have the same coverage as the public insurance. I would definitely not bet your life on that, and not health on that either. But yeah, the private health insurance in the Czech Republic is worse than the public. That's the outcome, I would say. And the public health insurance is still seen as a benefit for foreigners, not something you are like automatically entitled to get. So this is how it works. As for being it advantage or disadvantage, pros and cons, the affordability, especially if you have the public health insurance, is amazing. Like affordability of healthcare, I don't think anything else beats it. So that's definitely pro. Quality of healthcare is kind of questionable, but it depends on what you want to get done. Czech Republic generally has very, very, very good specialists, and many of the procedures were done for the first time in the Czech Republic. I think like first heart transplant was done in the Czech Republic, and like complicated surgeries in face and brain are often conducted in the Czech Republic. We have very good specialists for heart and other diseases, like heart diseases and other diseases. So if you get into like very serious trouble, we can take care of you like really, really well. On the other hand, if you like break your ankle and you really need to go see some specialist, it might take some weeks or months to get scheduled. So unless you want to pay something extra for a private hospital, then you can usually get seen by a specialist sooner. So pros and cons, like English-speaking medical facilities, that's more common now. I remember that a couple of years ago, they did not really accept any Czech health insurance or one of the private insurance companies. The highest possible like coverage they offered, one of the hospitals accepted. Now they usually do accept various different types of insurance. You just might need to pay. So even if you want to go to like get higher quality healthcare and better treatment in terms of human treatment, not the treatment of the actual doctor, but like a human treatment, how they speak to you and how well they speak English, all this, like the level of service, then you can actually already join private health insurance, private like medical facilities as well, private hospitals. You just need to sometimes pay their own membership fee to for them to be able to accept you. Matt Kofron, did you get any good presents or were you naughty again? I'm always naughty, so I mean, this is my Christmas buddy. Damn, I'm alive. So this is my Christmas buddy. So I honestly don't really celebrate Christmas, and that's kind of everything I can say about that. I didn't get any gifts and I didn't want any gifts, so yeah. Anyway, let's continue. One thing also about like related to this medical field, let's say. Yeah, okay, I'll read this because I get easily distracted. So, poběžíte v květnu pražský marathon. Are you gonna run Prague marathon in May? No, probably not. I ran a marathon in Amsterdam and it was like obstacle course marathon. It was 40, like more than marathon and 100 obstacles. So I do this, but I don't run normal marathons. That's kind of boring. Like you just run for 3.5 hours. It's like, why? But if you run for 6 hours and you have to like cross rivers and then like climb ropes and stuff, I call that fun. So I'll do that, but not the marathon. And yes, it is a weight vest. It is, yeah. So medication, that's another thing that's kind of, I think generally speaking that some medication in the Czech Republic is more available and even like without prescription than in some other countries. So that might be one thing to keep in mind. Another thing is that we also have a lot of pharmacies. So especially in Prague and in some places, there might be like 10 pharmacies in 2 streets. And we also have pharmacies that are open 24/7. There must be one in every, I don't know, for how many people, but there is kind of I don't know if it's law or just a rule or whatever, but there must be one 24/7 pharmacy open, available to people in some amount of like neighborhoods or whatever. So you can also get medication at night if needed. Okay, so that was number 3. Number 4, house in an apartment. Yeah, that's one of the biggest challenges I've done, or we've written an article specifically about this, like a guide for expats and how to find accommodation. And I think I have done a video about it as well, just a couple of weeks ago, maybe like last week or 2 weeks ago. So if you're interested in this topic, housing, then just go to my channel and scroll down a bit and you'll find this topic where I talk about, give you some tips how to find a rental in the Czech Republic. So I will not go too much into details, but yes, that's probably one of the biggest challenges. If we don't talk about the visa processes, then finding housing is probably one of the most complicated parts of moving to the Czech Republic, because the market is landlord's market, which means that there are more people wanting apartments than available apartments. So landlords can choose whom they want, and they usually go the path of the least resistance. So if they have equally good Czech tenant and a foreign tenant, they might usually choose the Czech tenant. Of course, not everyone, because some people lived abroad or just like to practice their languages or whatever, so they might choose a foreigner as well just because they want to practice or something. So it's not like 100% landlords will choose a Czech person, but generally for a foreigner it's more complicated to find accommodation, also because not all the options are available to you because you generally just don't know about them. You know as reality maybe and bez reality, but other ways of finding accommodation might be like hidden to you. And I've also shared some tips in the other video about the rental market and in the article as well. So go check that. One also, or two more things I would like to mention here are the upfront charges or upfront cost, and also how it works here, which might be also an advantage compared to some other countries. Ahoj Aničko Černá, díky za připojení. Já jsem taky z Česka, dokonce z Prahy tady, tak vítám na live streamu. This is one of the few Czechs who came here and doesn't say bad things, let's say, which Czechs usually do. Czechs usually just join and say like, you look stupid, and they leave. So this is, Anička is the first one who doesn't do that. Nice. Okay, so two more things. One, Czech layouts of apartments are a bit different than what you might be used to. And it might be at first a bit complicated to understand because we have the 1 plus KK, 1 plus 1, 2 plus KK, 2 plus 1, 3 plus 1, all these kind of things, and you just need to understand how it works, and also that we usually don't have two toilets, and that we might have toilet and the bathroom separated, or we might not, and it's just a bit different than in some other countries. So as long as you understand it, you should be fine. And upfront cost, or one thing is that if you sign, because sometimes we help foreigners also with finding accommodation in the Czech Republic, like long-term rentals. And what they ask us often is that if they sign a lease agreement for a year because they need it for a visa, for example, if that means that if the visa is denied or whatever, that they will need to pay the full year in advance, or they will need to keep paying for a year even if they cannot live there because they have to move out or something. So no, that's not like that. And I would say in the Czech Republic, actually, the tenants are very well protected. That's been a big discussion, and some changes might be coming to that. But generally speaking, if you're a landlord and your tenant is not really behaving well, it might be very, very difficult for you to get rid of the tenant. That's why many landlords do crazy stuff, as I explained in some of the previous videos about rentals. Like that they, for example, don't sign a lease agreement with you, but a sublease agreement. Because as a sublease, that can be kind of cancelled immediately, while lease agreement, you need to have like 3-4 months leave-in notice, whatever. So actually, Czech tenants or tenants in the Czech Republic are way more protected than the landlords. So that's one advantage. As for the cost, you generally need to count with paying the first monthly rent, then 1 or 2 monthly rents of deposit, and then usually 1 monthly rent as a commission to the real estate agent you work with, because finding a place without a real estate agent is possible, but you'll face way more competition. So most people end up paying a real estate agent anyway. Okay. Language barriers, English use, proficiency. Yeah, well, if you can, we've been in the business for 13 years now, almost 14. In a couple of days, it will be 14. So back then, it was different. Like, landlords did not really speak English, businesses did not really speak English, restaurants, shops, nothing. So 13 years ago, if you didn't speak Czech, you would have a hard time. Not impossible. We started the business because there were enough of foreigners moving here and living here, but it was way more complicated. Now, not really. If you stay in Prague or Brno, you'll be fine. And especially in your work environment, that's also a pretty common question. That's like, I don't speak Czech. Can I find work in the Czech Republic? Like, yeah, no foreigners who move here speak Czech. So yeah, obviously you can. And it's kind of an advantage and disadvantage as well, because foreigners tend to stay within the English-speaking bubble. So you rent from a landlord who speaks English, you go to work where everyone speaks English, and then you have English-speaking friends. So it kind of limits your adaptation in the Czech Republic, and especially if you stay long term, which I know sometimes happens the way that you come for a year or two and then you end up having like a spouse and 3 kids here and living here forever. But if there is a chance that you can stay longer or that you would stay longer, then definitely like make sure that you start learning Czech, even if it's not really needed to live here. It will be very beneficial for you in long term run from the visa perspective as well, because for permanent residency you need to pass a language exam, for citizenship you need to pass a language exam, so from this perspective as well, but for your daily life too. Matt Kofron, in some cases you have to prepay 2-3 months, so even if you don't get the visa they make money. Well, I would not say that they look at it like this, landlords, because Czech landlords, from our perspective, that we do both visas and accommodation help, the Czech landlords do not really understand the concept of visas, in my opinion. So they, if we, so okay, you can do the visas with us, but we also do the accommodation. So we deal with landlords on your behalf, and we help you secure an apartment, check the lease agreement, all that. And when we speak with the landlords and explain about you, like who's gonna see the apartment, where are you from, all that, if they ask about the visa, what I remember maybe once or 2 times in 13 years, like if does he have a visa or does she have a visa, that's probably it. So they don't really understand the concept of visas in most cases, because Czech passport is very strong, so we can travel to a lot of countries without a visa, and within the EU obviously we don't need to worry about that at all. So I don't think they see it like this, that even if you don't get the visa then they can still earn something. But the deposit is there, one, because by the law they can only start kind of negotiating of getting you out of the apartment if you don't pay 3 monthly rents. So before they can even start doing something about that, you are already 3 monthly rents in debt and then it will take some more time. So the security deposit is kind of meant to cover this and any potential damage to the apartment. And also obviously, yes, if you sign a lease agreement for a year, they count with you being there for a year, having income for a year. And yeah, if you move after 2 or 3 months, I think it's fair that they keep the deposit and they let you go as soon as you want to, and just keep the deposit to cover the cost of finding someone new, replacing you. Maybe like they will need to like paint the apartment again, whatever. So I don't think they do it on purpose, but yeah, they have the deposit so they can use it. Okay, v češtině, tu už měsíc v češtině, let me see. Finally, I'm here in Czech for a month now. Dorzila, okay, welcome and Merry Czech Christmas. Andrej Movnár, já jsem taky z Čech. Super, to jsme tady teďka 2 asi. Is it possible to get a response at this time from the embassy? I would not expect so, no. Embassies usually do holidays of the Czech Republic and also the receiving country, so they have as many holidays as it is possible. So I would not expect any replies from anyone right now. Now, topic number 6, work opportunities, business climate. Yeah, Czech Republic needs workers in different sectors. The unemployment rate in the Czech Republic is very low, and that's been like that for quite some time already. So we definitely need people from abroad. It's kind of the weird thing there is that the government on one hand says we want people here and please come. We create all these like beautiful programs for you, like the highly qualified employee and qualified employee, all that. On the other hand, they make it super complicated to get these actually, because then they introduce quotas and there are other problems as well. So it's kind of like, on one hand, we need workers. On the other hand, we don't really do much to get them here. So it's a bit weird situation, but definitely there is a lot of work. It just depends on what you do. As for business, I think it's still pretty good because Czech Republic, as I mentioned in the very beginning of the video, we are somewhere in between East and West. So whatever like gets popular in the US, for example, will get popular in the Czech Republic couple years later. So if now you see that there is a huge hype or big hype about, I don't know, frozen milk, whatever, so then it will very likely come to the Czech Republic couple years down the road. So you can successfully introduce new businesses in the Czech Republic. You see now that Five Guys just opened their first restaurant in Prague a couple weeks ago. So there is still a lot of opportunities, and Czech Republic especially is big in like crypto and all these and AI and kind of like IT related businesses, and there are plenty of startups. So yeah, and plenty of big companies you also know that started in the Czech Republic, like Avast, I think, is originally a Czech company. So a lot of opportunities for both business and employment. Just depends on where are you from and how easy it will actually be to get something like visa-wise, because that's difficult. Let's see, Kedis Merga. For work visa after embassy email, sponsored by lawyers, blah, 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 for me. Yeah, okay. I cannot even see that. The hype in the US is now about semaglutide and terzapatide. Okay. Sounds like some interesting drugs. So that might not be the best business idea, but why not? Okay. So weight loss drugs makes sense. So that's one thing Czech Republic does not need that much, honestly. It's getting worse as well. We're getting more obese people as well. But I would still say that it's not that bad. I don't mean it in any like bad way. Just next topic. Integration, social life, and expat support. That's the last topic I'll cover now. Yeah, again, it was very, very different 13 years ago when we started. I remember that like there were like 2 networking events for expats, and one was organized by a very, very like, is it sleeky guy? It was very bad, It's just, yeah, we kind of used to go there because it was the only thing where we could network as like someone who does something for foreigners. So we used to go there, but it was very bad. Now, from this perspective, there are so many events for foreigners, expats, or like networkings, or just like meetups, or different things you can do. Like you can paint together, and you can like do other things, just expats together, or yoga classes in English, or like puppy yoga, where you do yoga with pets, with puppies. I don't know. I need to go to sleep. So there are so many things you can do as an expat, and where you can network, and plenty of opportunities for meetups as well. So many meetups to organize by big groups, let's say, like internations, but also private people organize different meetups, sports groups. Yeah, there are so many things you can do. And also, if you just go to the farmers markets all around Prague, you will always meet people, meet Czechs, meet expats. So I think it's now pretty easy if you are actually willing to do the work, to go somewhere and to actually speak with people, and like be open to a different culture and different approach to everything, kind of. Because Czechs, for example, I would say we don't really have a filter in terms of like now in the US. So you really need to be careful what you say, what you not say. And I'm not saying it I'm not like making fun of it or whatever, but it's just, the point is that it's not in the Czech Republic yet. So we say inappropriate things, we say things that are kind of like direct, and we don't do much of a chit chat like, hey, how are you? I'm good. How are you? I'm good. How are you? I'm good. And how are you? Yeah, good. And how were you yesterday? I was good and great. But usually if like someone says like, how are you? You say, yeah, it's shit, because my wife left me, and like a parrot just like broke my leg. I don't know. So if you expect, or if you are fine with experience something new in terms of communication and being open, then I think you can always find new friends, you can find new connections, you can network, and you can live pretty well in Prague, especially in Brno as well. Other cities, yeah, maybe not that much, but also the expat community is not that big there, so you will always kind of find something to do together as well. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it, because I could talk about it for a long, way longer than this, but it's been already 36 minutes, and I don't think anyone will rewatch it. So it's good for the live stream that you watch me talk, and then if you don't like it, you can leave. And you also write comments. So Matt, thank you for being here and communicating. Dorzila as well, everyone who sent a message, thank you for that, to keep it running. Obtížná komunikace s místními lidmi. Let me see. I don't know how to change this, because YouTube started showing me the comments in Czech. So you write it in English and I see it in Czech. It's very confusing for me. So difficult to communicate with local people. Not many speaks English in South Bohemian region. Well, first, you've been here for a month. Give it some time. Learn some basic phrases. Smile a lot. And don't be afraid to be not ashamed, but like make mistakes, let's say, and be laughed at and all that, and you'll be fine. But obviously, yes, South Bohemia, maybe German would be more useful there. Like if you live on the border of the Czech Republic, German might be way better. Then obviously Moravia, Polish and German as well. So yeah, but it will get better. Chci se přestěhovat někam, kde mluví hlavně česky. This is so weird that they show it in Czech. So I want to move somewhere they speak primarily Czech. Yeah. So, well, I definitely encourage you to do that, because if you plan on staying here long term and you want to learn Czech, this is the way to do that. Like if you move to a small city like Kolín, or even smaller, if you move to a village, you will have to speak Czech. So definitely, if you want to learn Czech and get socialized more, or like integrated more, then definitely some small city will be good. You'll be forced to do so. But also one thing, find Czech friends, or I don't know, Matt, if you're married or not. If not, find a Czech partner and force them to speak Czech with you. If you are married, then find Czech friends and force them to speak Czech with you. At least, like, of course, they will want to speak English with you to practice English, but you can make a deal that they will practice English with you, but then you will practice Czech with them. Even if it's like 1 hour a day, then the rest you speak English, but you speak 1 hour a day Czech. Yeah, you'll be super good. You'll understand everything very, very swiftly. Because honestly, I've been saying this for quite some time, and in many of my live streams, that look at kids. Kids don't learn languages through books and grammar. Kids learn language that they are like listening, repeating, and trying to understand what it means based on the context. And at some point, they do. Like everything clicks and now you understand. That's how kids learn, you know? Just for some reason, we adults like to learn through books and grammar and understanding the rules and blah, blah, blah. But I think that if you're exposed to the language and you're actually forced to listen to Czech every day and like say something in Czech, you will understand way better at some point. They speak Czech in České Budějovice. Good question. But they might speak German as well, because now it's different. But again, for example, when I was a child, so like 7 million years ago, roughly, you could speak either. You could choose in school that you want to speak dinosaurs, then English or German. Those were the three main languages when I was a kid. And a lot of people actually chose German because long term, we have really like strong connection to Germans, business connections and everything. So, and we share significant parts of history with Germans. So, and also like if you live close to the border, a lot of people still do it, but they used to do it a lot, that they worked in Germany, but lived in the Czech Republic. And even if you worked some basic position in Germany, you were paid way more than you would for the same job in the Czech Republic. So yeah, German used to be pretty popular. Okay, guys, so that's it. I think it's more than enough for this topic. 7 pros and cons of living in the Czech Republic or in Prague. Thank you very much for being here, guys. Merry Christmas. Happy Christmas. And I will see you again Monday, Thursday, until the end of the world. And now I will do another live stream where I will be answering your live Q&As, but only for joiners. So I will see Ezra there. And if any one of you want to join as well and ask your specific immigration questions, join me in 2 minutes in a private live stream for joiners only. Bye-bye, guys. Good night. Merry Christmas once again. See you Monday.